Hi, everyone. This is Brian and Erica. They are the owners of Meow Bark Vet Clinic. They're absolutely awesome. Their clinic is in the Ramble near Goodnight Ranch. If you are looking for a vet that's super close to Easton Park with really, really cool people, check them out. We had an excellent podcast. We talked about everything from nutrition for your pet to what happens if your pet gets bit by a rattlesnake or even a black widow. So check them out, and we will see you on the podcast. Let's first just talk about musicians who happen to be veterinarians. Like, talk to me about your passion for music. I think that's so cool.
Man, how we could say so much about that, honestly. I mean, I personally come from a very musical family, and musical in a sense that, you know, we would love to sing, we'd love to dance. We're kind of, I think, my family has always been in tune with music. You know, piano lessons, you know, singing in different groups, including I was in a vet band, literally called the Vet Band.
No way.
In vet school, talent shows. I auditioned for America's Got Talent. Was it America's Got Talent? One of the competitions.
No way.
Yeah, when I lived, because I did live in Southern California for a little bit. So,
Okay.
And we even had a professor. He was a guitarist in our band, and it was a cover band. You know, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, that's kind of all you have time for in school, is just to learn other people's music. You don't have much time to be original.
You're not composing your own.
No,
your own music.
But the beauty of what we're doing now, you know, Brian and I, you know, when we met, we quickly discovered that we were both very musical people.
Okay.
Brian has his own, you know, history with music, but we also met other musical people, including a good friend of ours who is a veterinarian at Roots Integrative, Dr. Sosa. So he plays guitar in our band. Brian plays bass, and then another friend who plays drums, and everybody is very good at what they do. It's a level up with what we're doing because we are kind of composing or creating our original stuff. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I should say composing is a very loose term. We're very kind of freestyle improv too.
Okay.
Our pocket is improv. Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
There's so we had, his name's Dr. Jeff. He's a podiatrist.
Yeah.
Near where, is he near there? No, he's not. He's here in Austin. He's a podiatrist. He lives here in Easton Park, and he's also very musically inclined.
Cool.
And we were talking about how people who are like doing the doctoring of animals and the humans tend to be, there's like a musical component to y'all's mind. It seems to be a trend.
Yeah.
It's really wild.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they taught us when we were younger that, you know, if you're musically inclined, maybe you're kind of good at things like math or some STEM stuff. I mean, I wouldn't claim to be the best at math, but
I feel like people who become doctors are the ones that, like, they'll find something and just go all in on it.
Yeah.
I think that's ultimately what it is.
Okay.
You know?
It's like that type A, like.
Yeah, because I know a lot of, like, veterinarians who are like, what is it? They do the ultra marathons and Mega Man or whatever. Iron Man competitions. And it's like, I know a lot of these veterinarians who just, they'll have their thing, and it's like outside of veterinary medicine that they're like almost professional at also.
It's wild. It's got to be like that competitive type A, like, and super smart, you know, like that gets that done. But it seems to be like this trend that like people who are doctors also do music. Like we had two dentists come on who are going to be in enamel dentistry, which is going to be right over here in this area.
yeah.
And Dr. C was like beatboxing on the podcast, and then the other Dr. Patel did an incredible rendition of a Mariah Carey song, just like off the cusp. Like, yeah, like we're like, dang, they're so talented. They're so cool. Very, very cool.
Really cool.
Yeah. So music's excellent, but let's talk about pets and what y'all do. Like, you were talking before we started about being relief doctors now. Like, can you tell me what that means?
Yeah. You want to take that?
Sure. So we just fill in wherever a vet hospital needs assistance.
Okay.
So whenever a veterinarian is either switching jobs, we'll fill in, or maternity leave, we'll fill in. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of vet clinics and there's a lot of people moving and going, and so there's a space there for that needs to get filled until they can find their primary care vet or hire on a permanent vet.
Awesome. So is it like an agency that you work for and they're like, okay, they need you at this vet?
Erica did that.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, it can be very organic. For example, this past year, Brian just cold called some clinics in South Austin saying, cool. Hey, we're veterinarians. If you have days where, one of your vets is going to be out or a period of time where your vets will be out, think about us. We can meet, we can discuss rate, all of that. So it can be organic that way. There are also avenues to connect clinics who have need and vets who want to provide the need. I actually worked for an agency, full-time W-2'd with an agency that would create my schedule. Cool. Just like you would, any employer would, but it was all for local clinics within like a 20-mile radius.
Oh, that's really awesome. Because, I think that there's such a need, right, for animal care. And people who, like, we have our dog now. We've had 3 cats. We used to have 2 St. Bernards. Now we're down to Kate. And we would do anything for her. Like, and there's been times where we needed like an emergency vet or we needed, and people, if you short-staffed vets, it's like causes problem for these poor little pups and dogs and like, and kitties and the whole nine. So like, how did y'all meet? Like, this is very exciting because it's like, you're going into business together, you're together. My husband and I run our business together. It's excellent. It's fun. It comes with its own set of challenges too. But so how'd y'all meet and how did you get like the excitement and the passion to start your own shop?
Yeah. I know this is always a fun story. So we went to different vet schools, but we had an opportunity to work together for 2 weeks at University of Georgia. That was his vet school. Okay. And I was doing an externship during my 4th year, but we're both 4th years at the time. So we met in Athens, in Georgia, and very casual, very friendly. I had some friends there that I was meeting, so nothing that was.
She shot me down.
More serious than that. Okay.
I got her number. She was visiting Georgia. Okay. And so I thought she was just by herself, like visiting Georgia, but. Like, so I wanted to be like, hey, I know you're visiting, I can show you out,
I'll show you around.
I'll show you around. You can come hang out with me and my friends. But like, little did I know she had more friends at Georgia than I did. So she really turned me down. I
mean, I had a feeling he was hoping for a little bit more. And I was like, it's only 2 weeks. It
was a friendly gesture.
It was a friendly gesture. So then it's really funny. Fast forward to, a whole year and we both applied for internships. Which kind of like in human medicine, there's a match process where you have to rank the places you want to go and they have to rank you. Okay. And we had both shown interest in this one clinic called Veterinary Emergency Referral Group in Brooklyn. And so, long story short, we both ended up in the same internship, which is just very much of a lottery luck thing. Yeah. Okay. When we came into the internship with our own situationships at the time, but went through a whole year of working together very intensively, lots of long hours. And we both just he never gave up, and I was also there were opportunities for me to see him as a person and how we were together and friends. I love that. And I thought I like this guy. This guy's pretty cool. So we started being more serious at the end of that. I moved after that to Austin, and he moved to Houston to work and live with his dad for a year. We did the long distance thing for a year between Houston and Austin. We both decided, Austin's kind of we think it's going to be more fun. So Brian has always been kind of business minded. I mean, one of his goals, right? You can speak to that more. I mean, one of his goals has always been entrepreneurship, business ownership. You even did, you were part of VBMA in vet school. There's a business club.
Yeah. So I was always wanting to own a business just because I've never done well with like bosses and people telling me what to
Rules.
do and rules.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, so I had always wanted to do that. And then of course I love pets and I got into vet school. And then once I got into vet school, there was a veterinary business club, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like I can actually maybe do something with this.
Yeah.
But I was too scared to do it straight out of our internship.
Yeah.
Plus I didn't have any money.
Yeah. Money's key.
And so, I mean, we've been out now for 8 years.
Yeah.
And so we know what we like. We know what we don't like.
Yeah.
We know how to be a vet. You know, we know how to run. Well, we don't know how to run a business necessarily, but we know how to be veterinarians.
Yeah.
And so this is just the timing of it. I couldn't do it without Erica at all. I couldn't do any of this without Erica. Like she's like half of, like I need her support. And a lot of it was like me potentially needing to like convince her to get on board with me to do this, but it wasn't much. Like
honestly, it was kind of
game.
it was a little bit of a self-realization for me because coming out of vet school and then out of internship, and I was like, I don't even know how to be a vet, let alone own a business. I am perfectly fine being an associate elsewhere, and so that was all great experience. Doing this relief locum work has been awesome experience too, because you get to visit a lot of different clinics, and medicine is kind of the same for the most part, but there's different, there's nuances, there's different ways to do certain things. And so that was really good experience. And when Brian, he came home one day and he was like, it's time, we need to do this. Let's formulate our LLC. And I was like, okay, here we go. And I have grown to really be excited about this process. Cool. I'm excited about, all the things we don't know yet and what we're going to learn. It feels like, professional growth, but also personal growth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's scary, right? To go from W-2 income, you're getting paid every 2 weeks. Like maybe someone's telling you what to do, but like you get paid to here we go. Like, y'all are opening in January 25, right? Like,
yes.
You're right around the corner.
Yeah.
Well, y'all are leasing new build space too, which I'm sure is like a totally different, like that's hard.
Yeah.
You're not on your timeline. You're on theirs.
Right.
That's true.
But if everything goes according to plan, like, so you're right around the corner. I'm sure your employers know that.
Yeah.
Doing your thing.
No. And at this point, being on the other side of it, we are the employers, and hiring staff and being that leader for people is a whole nother, the whole nother thing that we're, excited to dive into. And so it's all very, very exciting. And it is all around the corner.
It's so cool. It's entrepreneurs are cool. Like there's a level of like risk and adventure and like scary, but and then I think so there's like entrepreneurs are cool in and of itself. They're like, I think we're all really fun and little kooky, a little creative in a cool way. But then there's like then you go into business with your partner, and there's like a different subset, and we've been like collecting people who work with their spouse or with their partner, their life partner, because it's different. It's like, for us, we never stop talking about work. Like it's all the time. But we love running our business. We love the team that we get to lead. And we're in human resources, so we're dealing with other owners who are dealing with their team, and we deal with the people side, and it's like it's my passion. I love it. I absolutely love it. But working with your spouse is one, like entrepreneurship is one thing, and then being an entrepreneur with your spouse when you're full-time in the business is a totally different thing, and it's excellent. Like you're in business with a person you trust the most, you love the most, it's your best friend, and but I will say you have to, what we're learning, and we've asked a lot of people who have done this, is that like you have to have like a cutoff point. Like maybe one night you're like, we're really busy, we have this project, we have to work, we have to talk through problems, we have to talk through whatever, but like there has to be days where you're like no work, like, just kicking it like you did before you like owned your business. But it's so fun. I'm very excited for y'all.
I mean, we kind of have figured out what we can and can't really talk about when it comes to work, or like stuff that you're just kind of tired of talking about. So like, I don't know, my history is restaurants. I used to just wait tables.
Okay.
And you always have that one table that kind of ruins your night.
Yeah.
Well, the same with veterinary medicine. You have that one client that just doesn't appreciate you, or
You just feel like you didn't connect.
and so you want to come home and you want to vent about stuff like that, and it's like, So I think most of our communication, at least more recently, is more just about medicine.
Yeah.
Like, I could complain about whatever,
Who said what?
who said what and how this all went or something like that. But I think we can still talk about our work, but it's more geared towards medicine and like weird cases and like, hey, so the blood work looked like this and their clinical signs and the pet was this old. Like, what are your thoughts?
That's so cool.
There's a lot of conversations about that. Yeah.
I bet. And I guess like what you guys are doing, like you love animals.
Yeah.
Like that's your pet. So how do y'all have pets at home?
Yes.
Duh. What a stupid
2
question.
dogs.
2 dogs?
Yeah.
Not like a slew of many, many animals.
Interestingly enough, no. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Now,
No.
who knows?
You said now. Oh, like
I
maybe
know.
in the
Not now.
future.
Right.
Like not in the past either. Like
No, we both
Okay.
we both came into the relationship with our own like vet school rescues.
Okay.
And pretty much at this point, I mean, there was a dog we were fostering, so at one point we had 3 dogs in the house, but really it's been mostly just our two babies.
okay.
Yeah, we have two permanent ones, and then
Okay.
there's like a rotating door for pets that we
Yeah.
want to
Okay.
adopt out or
It's
foster.
gotta be so hard to like. I mean, I'm sure y'all see pets that come through where you're like, we've got to, I don't know, help this pet, or like it needs a home, we need to foster it. Like, but there has to be some level of like,
Yeah.
we can't.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd have a house full of animals.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I had a cousin who she was just like a receptionist at a vet like many, many years ago, and there were so many. She would just bring them home, like
Yeah.
And her husband was eventually like, you have to stop. Like, and they were all foster fails. Like, she's like, no, I'm going to foster them. And then, but they ended up, she wanted to keep them. And it was just like, you can't.
Yeah.
There's only so many pets that we can have, like turtles and like all the things, which brings me to what, like, vets do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
What's y'all's focus? Like, what's your focus for your clinic?
Yeah, as our name implies, we're Meow Bark, right? So we are cat and dog. Like that is our sweet spot. That is the bulk of 99% of our experience, right?
Okay.
The honest truth is we don't have a lot of experience with other species. I did a splint on a broken leg on a rabbit once. You've had
Poor
some...
rabbit. That's
I know.
really like all they're about is their legs,
Yeah.
like hopping
and their back.
Oh, poor
They
little
just like to
bunny.
break things. They're like little horses, Their horses also are a little bit, their health is
Yeah.
touch and go sometimes.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, we, as much as we're very much our sweet spot is cat and dog, we know that there's definitely lots of different types of pets and pet ownership in the neighborhood, and so if people come in and, they have their pocket pet, which basically is generally a guinea pig, a hamster, what else? Guinea
Mice,
pig, hamster,
rats?
mice, rats, yeah, something small, or a rabbit, right?
What about like iguanas? Like I guess they start small, then they.
Right. So we have absolutely no experience with reptiles or birds or fish. So
Okay.
that is very much you are very much best served at a veterinary clinic who does have way more experience with that. But like the pocket pets and the rabbits and things like that, I mean, we're still going to be very honest about, what our wheelhouse is.
Yeah.
We will try. But yeah, so yeah, we love cats and dogs, that's kind of our bread and butter.
The cats and dogs are the bread and butter.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
And
it.
then even with dogs and cats, like we'll be completely honest on where, like, what we're comfortable with seeing and what we're not comfortable seeing
Yeah.
when it comes to, and we'll be able to help facilitate wherever a pet may best be served.
Yeah.
We're not going to take on something that we don't necessarily feel comfortable or feel like it's going to be the best thing for the pet. We're always going to recommend the best thing for the pet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason, if someone wants to come and stick with us, and we'll break out the books, or we'll phone a friend, and we'll figure it out, we'll do the best we can. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we are just recommending whatever's best for whatever walks through the door.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And kind of to that same end, right? Veterinarians historically are kind of they wear many hats, right? So there's a lot of areas of expertise. Just like in human medicine, the breadth of knowledge in veterinary medicine is so big now, right? There's so many specialties out there for different things, orthopedics, ophthalmology, cardiology, all those things, right?
Wild.
And so, we're always going to be those people who say, you know what, we have, we're here for you and we're here for your pet, and this is what we know. And if we ever feel like there's something that could benefit from some, more specialized perspective, we'll always be honest about that. And, at the same time, I mean, we're here to talk. We're here to see your pet. We're here to talk through whatever, we want to do.
Yeah. It's always been fascinating to me that like a doctor for humans are like, it's one species. Like, it's a human. And that vets like dogs, cat, like rabbits, like I would imagine that there's some similarities in that they're all alive, but like how a bird works would be so different than how a cat works or dog, and like and then even just a cat and a dog, I'm sure there's significant difference in treatments and plans and all of that. So and then you're not only dealing with a pet, like there's got to be a psychology game to what y'all do too. Most people, the end of a pet's life, like we're kind of at the end of our pets' lives. We had 3 cats that were 20 when they passed recently. And we had a large St. Bernard. She was like 160, 170 pounds that passed away. She was only 6, but large dog. It was very sad. Yeah. And then Kate's 12, she's 12. Like she's a St. Bernard. Like, so you get these pets when you're young, like in your 20s, but they don't tell you that in your 30s.
Yeah.
Like it's sad. So, or like they get hit by a car or they get sick unexpectedly. So you're dealing with not only the pet and treating the pet, but like the crying person sitting next to them. Yeah. It's got to be so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, we always joke. I mean, I think it's a running joke in veterinary medicine. The people are not they don't prepare you for that. It's something that is very much learned. I think for Brian and I mean, I'm so blessed that Brian, he's such a personable person. He kind of meets you, gives it to you straight, meets you where you are. I feel like I personally, one of my strengths is I feel like I have, both of us have a lot of empathy, and so we value transparency. We value talking through things, but we also empathize with people and what they're going through.
Yeah.
One of our biggest things is just kindness, I mean, it's in our handbook, it's in our code,
I love
kindness.
That you have a handbook. That just made my little HR heart sing.
All the things we're learning.
Or you'll love our core values.
Yeah, our core values are, they're all fun, little animal puns too.
Very cool.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's definitely something that you learn on the job.
Yeah.
To be able to talk to people about, their pets, whether it's good or bad, and have those hard conversations sometimes.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, most pets are lucky enough, I hope, and I don't know, but that they're lucky enough to be in a home where they are part of the family.
Yeah.
And the person really cares and the family really cares. And like breaking news, you're like telling something to someone about their family member that's been with them for, like, I know when my cats were so old, like they were all 20, like 18 and 20 when they died, but like they were part of my life for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like
it's a long time.
Yeah. Like and then it's that's coming, awesome. But you're just like, it's like a, Steve he kind of explained it as like, it's like a slow moving train you can't get out of the way of, that like, it's coming, but it's still going to hurt really bad.
Yeah.
And like,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Man of wisdom over there. Yeah. But, that's a lot of the reason that we were with the vet that we were with for so long was because we trusted him. Like he helped with, except for Luna, but he helped with all of our pets, like say goodbye to them, and was so just like kind. Like we had a cat that had diabetes. His name was 24. He had 24 toes. I was gonna name him Phalange and call him Phil, but I don't know. I ended up naming him 24.
I love it.
He was huge. She was a giant cat,
but he got the diabetes.
Yeah.
And he did well for a long time, but like at the end, like it was the end. And it was on a Sunday, and we called Dr. Blagg, like, because we had gone to him for so long, we had his phone number.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll meet you at the animal hospital in an hour. And
yeah.
like on a Sunday
Yeah.
came up, like,
Yeah.
and we were like, how do we pay you? He's like, I don't even know how to take money. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure, like, you're going to, you know, whatever. And I don't know that he ever even charged us to do it, but it was like,
Yeah.
it was so, oh, Steve's like, yes, he did. He absolutely did. But like, and good for him. He should have. It was a service. But like that's a level of trust and care
Yeah.
that like, you don't like, that's like an empathetic human who he like, and he'd taken care of 24 for like almost 20. Well, we got probably 12 years of his
Yeah.
life. Like he knew him too. It was just like, I don't know. Vets are the best. Like
Yeah.
a good vet, like is amazing. And I'm excited that Kate gets to go to you guys now. She's
We're
gonna
very
be awesome.
excited about that.
So one of the big things in our neighborhood is rattlesnakes. And I think there's been other snakes. There's Cottonmouth Creek is right here, and I don't know if Cottonmouth snakes are, but they're there. Like, are
Makes
they?
you wonder how they got the name.
I know. Like, does it give who they bite?
Yeah.
Cottonmouth, or like do they? Yeah, but
I think
a lot
the
of.
inside of their mouths are white, like
Oh,
cotton.
is that what it is?
that
I
what
think so. I don't know, Steve.
You're a.
No?
Can you
Okay.
Can you pull up the inside of a cottonmouth snake?
Can we get a confirmation on
Yeah.
that?
Can we look at this?
I think
Lifeline.
I think it's white. Like it looks like cotton in the mouth.
Cool. Yeah.
I think.
He's gonna pull it up. We're about to find out.
Oh, it does.
Oh, it is.
I
Well,
mean, yeah.
I'll be
That sure
damned.
does look like
You were
a
right.
white
It's
mouth.
like you went to school for this or something.
Yeah.
Snakes are so scary.
Yeah. They are scary.
Are these venomous?
Yes.
The cottonmouths are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So then there's big. Okay, I have so many stories to tell you guys in the area, and I would imagine where your clinic is in Goodnight Ranch, right? And I'm same thing. There's just so much land being displaced, and there's wildlife that lives there.
Yeah.
One of the saddest things I thought was there's a lot of boars getting hit by cars over here because
Wow.
there's so many like wild boars.
Yeah.
And they're like, and they will mess up a car. Like that's a big sturdy animal, but also poor things.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
just trying to go home, and now there's 183. Like it's just, or like Slaughter goes to 183,
Yeah.
and William Cannon goes to 183 now to get
Yeah.
through these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But what's also displaced are these snakes, and there's so many snakes, and people's pets have gotten bit. Like it's sad. So you all treat that there's like is it like anti-venom? Like how does that work? And how would like
Yeah.
if someone from the neighborhood, if their dog got bit by a snake, is that something where you're like just go to you guys, like they could just take it
Yes.
to you right away?
Yes.
And you hook them
Yeah.
up with the anti-venom.
Yeah, it neutralizes the toxins that are in the venom itself.
Okay.
And first of all, not every bite is going to deliver venoms. There are dry bites out there. The problem is you don't know, There's some thought that dry bites happen more when snakes are on the defense, where they want to conserve that venom for actual prey.
Okay.
It's a speculation.
Okay.
And really you just don't know. But yes, the best course of action is immediate vet care. At the end of the day, best case scenario is there's a little bit of some pain, maybe some swelling, but there's not a whole lot of reaction, all the way to there can be some physiologic and metabolic changes. It affects blood clotting.
Wow.
It can kill local tissue. It can affect the kidneys. There are some neurotoxins even in, the vipers. So the most common vipers here are the rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, copperheads. So, and then the ones that are very much provide a neurotoxin are going to be the coral snakes.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't know. Has there been any conversation about corals in this neighborhood?
I think there was one, and it's like red and yellow. What is it? Red and yellow, kill a fellow, red and black. I don't remember. There's a rhyme, right?
There's a rhyme.
We don't know the rhyme, but there is someone on Reddit that Erica likes to follow because she likes snakes and she follows
Okay.
them. And
Yeah.
what did it say?
Basically,
Red and yellow, leave it alone.
leave it alone. Red and black.
Red
leave
and
it
black,
alone.
leave it alone.
Yeah, because there are certain species that are, more to the south, but you can't guarantee. Maybe you'll find them here that are a problem and don't follow the phrase. So
Just leave them alone.
Just leave them alone.
Keep your pets away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Ugh,
especially with the corals. There is antivenin for people. There's no FDA approved antivenin for veterinary medicine. And so it's really difficult and really expensive for anybody to obtain. So, but
I mean, ultimately, we're a Meow Bark Veterinary Clinic, right? So, we'll be there to help stabilize and triage.
Got it.
But ultimately, we're appointment based. We'll have availability for same day sick. There, of course, is walk-ins.
Sure.
There are, you can walk in, right? Anyone can walk in off the street with a pet, you know. But obviously, we're booked full of appointments and stuff like that, so it's going to be hard to accommodate that.
Yeah.
But it also depends on what's happening with your pet. You know, if your pet is having like injuries or like life-threatening injuries or sickness, of course you're going to become priority.
Right.
And I don't care if that upsets people with appointments, because people will get upset like, I need my vaccines, and it's like, well, we got something that came in through the door that's
dying, or
that's
that we can
dying.
save, or that we can give a restful end, or peaceful,
exactly.
Right.
So we'll, but ultimately at the end of the day too, with kind of going back to what Eric was saying, how sectioned medicine has become, like with all the specialties. So like we're a clinic, we're not a hospital.
Yeah.
So ultimately, again, we're going to do the best we can. We'll stabilize, we'll do what we can, but we might, bandage you up and send you to, Central Texas Veterinary Specialty or Violet Crown or Veg or something like that.
Yeah.
For continued overnight monitoring, because we're not going to have overnight care.
Yeah. So will you spay and neuter?
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Spay, neuter, dental.
Okay.
We'll do all dental cleanings, extractions, stuff like that. Of course, if there's anything really outside or something that we're not comfortable with, again, we can refer that one out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mass removals. Yeah. We'll have, so for some of the more, let's say, advanced procedures that are not urgent, right, and can still be scheduled. So, dogs, they love to rupture their cruciates, they love to get ACL injuries. Or, if we have, if a pet has a heart murmur and we want to, provide an echocardiogram to them, an ultrasound of the heart. The lovely thing is there are a lot of mobile specialists now that will come to your clinic, right?
Awesome.
So yeah, we'll definitely, facilitate that to where, you're not bouncing as much as we can help it. You're not bouncing around for your pet's care.
Yeah.
It's all in-house.
Y'all are like the quarterback. Like it's it's like with your general practitioner as a human.
Yes.
It's like, hey, you've got this going on with your heart. I suggest you go see this cardiologist. Whereas like a GP is they're not treating that all the time. Like I wouldn't want my cardiologist, or I'm sorry, I wouldn't want my GP treating my heart issues.
Sure.
Like that's not what they do all day, but the
Yeah.
cardiologist is doing that all day. And same with your pets.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's excellent that there's those services out there. They are not inexpensive.
Right.
Nope.
And I think that's like, we talk a lot about health insurance for people, because that's a big part of what we do every day is help with that. But there is pet insurance for your pets. Is that like, how does that work with like that, like especially from like even an entrepreneurial standpoint of like, how do y'all get paid if you're using pet insurance? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so there's somewhat different models as far as like what insurances will cover what, but they're all pretty much based on it's all reimbursement based. So you pay full price for the services at the time, and then you submit a claim, or your veterinarian helps facilitate a claim to see what the insurance will cover. Some insurances will cover the unexpected stuff.
Okay.
Some insurances are more about the prophylactic wellness stuff.
Okay.
One thing we deal with in human medicine, right, and insurance is pre-existing conditions. Veterinary pet insurance in general is super sticklers about pre-existing conditions, unfortunately.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Guys. Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
So, the best advice is if you're seriously considering getting pet insurance, you do it like right at the time of adoption, especially like if you're adopting a puppy, and you want something to kind of follow them through the years.
Yeah.
Do it basically the moment you get them. I mean, the alternative to that, right, is, maybe even the money you would put towards, your premium, maybe just start a savings account, like a high yield savings account,
Right.
and just kind of
Save
up, right?
Yeah,
For the
'cause
what if.
pet ownership it's not an inexpensive journey with your pet, right? Like you want to, I'm sure, I mean, we could talk about food. We talked about food for a little while earlier, but like we, and it's just easier to speak in experience. Like we lost our St. Bernard Luna. She had a larynx issue but also had to have cancer because she was losing like 7 pounds a week. And then it just was really bad.
Yeah.
And one of the things we reached out to the woman that we got her from who took excellent care. Like she very lovingly was breeding St. Bernards. We went to Oklahoma to get her, and she's like, well, are you giving her food with grain in it, because that's like a thing now,
Right?
And then we go down this rabbit hole of like you start feeling guilty of like, oh my god, what did we do? So like, what is this like grain? It's like kind of popular. I've seen it on TikTok. It's like going on like, what is this grain situation?
Yeah. You want to talk about it, or you want me to talk about it? You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, you talk
Okay,
about
I'll
it.
talk about
like,
it.
It feels
Well,
saucy.
we're on the same page about it. Like we feel the same about it, but these are these are hot topics that people are going to have their opinions,
Yeah, and
It's like politics. Gotta be careful. Careful talking about the grain.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's like there's so many things that we assume now as far as scientific method, right? That if you've somewhat been able to prove things over and over again, we're like, well, of course, I wouldn't think twice that gravity exists, right? Well, there's a lot of things that we're in real time investigating, right? So that means that the recommendation may change, right? Sure. And one of those things that we're kind of all experiencing in real time is, what are the implications of some of these diets that happen to be grain-free? With 5 to 10 years ago, a bunch of cardiologists were seeing a trend of heart issues, particularly heart muscle issues, where the heart muscle wasn't contracting appropriately, and they were not the right signalment, which basically means they weren't the right breed, the right age, those kinds of things. And the common denominator that they were discovering was diets that happen to be labeled grain-free. And so there was this, conversation, this concern about, what is it about these diets that is leading to this contractility issue of the heart in a lot of these dogs? And granted, right, there's I'm talking about 5 to 10 years ago, but grain-free foods have been around longer, right? And there's been a lot of dogs who have been on grain-free foods for years and years, right? And so, the investigation is ongoing. The latest is that there's a thought that it's not so much that they lack grains, it's that these diets are really high in proportions of pulses, so like peas and lentils, and then other ingredients like sweet potato. There's a thought that there's some compound in these that at a certain level can be potentially cardiotoxic, just not good to the heart.
Interesting.
So the kind of general recommendation I think you'll hear from the average cardiologist at this time is, if that pet food lists peas, lentils, sweet potato, pulses in general, in the first 5, honestly, the cardiologist would probably say the first 10 ingredients on the ingredient list, potentially to stay away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because as people, you're like, lentils are great for you, sweet potatoes are great for you,
right?
And I think that we just like assume that's what's best for our pets.
Sure.
Like healthy vegetables, like healthy grains. That's so fascinating, and like it's so interesting to hear people like because you do hear the thing about grain all the time, like I do on TikTok, and as you're scrolling, you're like, don't feed your dog grain or don't feed whatever, right? And it's like we need to be asking our vets, like professional people who like. To bring him up again, Dr. Jeff, the foot doctor, was like very much going back to science. And he's like, what doctors are, whether it's human doctors, vets, like people that we're scientists, and we base everything that we do on study and like experiments and stuff, and like research and all of these things. And it's just, if people have questions about the dog food, they should talk to their vet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like, and you guys will then, and you give people information and then they do with it what they will.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is just human form, right?
Yeah.
Like we give our clients advice that they don't take all the time, and then 6 months later we're like, told you, but yeah, we'll help you fix it, you know.
Right.
But
Yeah,
like, and I'm
of course.
sure it's different when you're dealing with lives.
Sure.
But I guess the overall answer is if you have questions about what to feed your pet, like talk to your vet.
Absolutely.
We can make that a rhyme. If you have questions about what to feed your pet, ask your vet.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Y'all can make that a jingle.
Wouldn't that be great?
With your music situation. I love that. So excellent. Let's get back to rattlesnakes, because that is like a big deal. And I think you all will see a lot of rattlesnake concerns,
Yeah.
especially where your clinic is going to be.
Yeah.
If people are moving here from California like crazy, and New York and other places, and like I grew up in South Central Texas. I grew up in an area like way in the country, down a red dirt road, like was how I like on a lot of land, always watched out for snakes, a lot of rattlesnakes, a lot of copperheads. We always knew like we like just stay away from them. They will kill you.
Yeah.
Same thing with the dogs, and like it was just always like a thing. But people who don't grow up in Texas or have no experience with snakes, they move here, they have a dog, they see a snake in their backyard. Like, would someone know that their pet got bit by a snake?
You know, I mean, that's the hard part is, you know, just like people, some pets are very expressive, and some, you know, there's this kind of potentially even play drive that overrides any kind of sensation if they, you know. So if you see your pet near, you know, a snake, you know, even if they're not acting painful, if they're not limping, any of that, I mean, give them a one over, you know, just kind of, you know, assess the situation. You know, the ideal is that you're not calling pest control necessarily on these things. If you can remember, you know, try to get an ID, right? So I'm sure, you know, a lot of forums, neighborhood forums, right, that will snap a picture and be like, can somebody tell me what this is, right? Because there's a lot of different ways to verify that. It sounds like there's some people who have a lot of experience with snakes in the neighborhood that can offer that advice. I personally, I'm a big Redditor. I love Reddit. Okay. So in the Austin subreddit, there's a long-standing resource there. His name is Serpentarian, who is awesome too. If you take a picture, you know, and there's a lot of other people who have experience too, but they can definitely help ID, kind of give you an idea of, you know, what to do. Which the general advice is, you know, if you leave them alone, they'll probably leave you alone. Now, that's easier said than, you know, in practice, where, you know, obviously we want to have space for our pets and not stress about, you know, the dangers of them just being in your backyard.
Right.
You know, having resources to call or reach out to. So Austin Reptile Service is a local resource for even coming to pick up, you know, a snake if you want it removed from your property. Sounds like there are some people experienced in the neighborhood that will offer those services, which is so cool.
Shovel and a bucket. And I don't know what they do with the snakes,
awesome.
but they will. And like, which like, great. We need those people. They need, like, I mean, my biggest thing, I would hate for any animal to suffer.
Of course.
Like even snakes,
of course,
and spiders, and all the horrible animals that are out there that are still alive. And like, I have a lot of respect for life at any size. Like, I like, even like, I don't know, even like bugs in the house, we're like, okay,
yeah,
well, like, let's either, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I have a spider that lives in my little hanging plants by the front door that he hasn't bothered me. He stays in his space. I'm like, all right, buddy, you're good.
You do you, I'll do me.
Yeah, just don't cross, you know, don't bite me. But like, to remove snakes, I think is really important. Do you all, or will you all provide like snake training for dogs or anything like that?
There are definitely resources for that. Okay. We're not trainers, but we definitely advocate that as well. You know, we also, you know, advocate, you know, finding a resource that would probably use like snake dummies or demos, and then also something that provides positive reinforcement, right? Instead of, you know, anything that's kind of more aggressive, like, you know, shock collar, defanging the snakes, whatever, you know, and fake decoys, I think, is probably more humane
to train with.
Yeah,
because they take the venom out of some of those poor snakes, right? And then
I think they just I don't know if they remove the the like glands or whatever, but I know they'll remove fangs and they'll use shock collars for the dogs. So
That feels so aggressive.
It feels aggressive. Yeah.
it is. I mean, I don't doubt that it probably gets the job done.
Right, yeah.
But probably
Yeah.
not the best way to get the job done, you know?
Training based on fear just never like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. There's just a better way.
Yes.
Takes a little more patience, probably a little more time.
Yeah, more
but like,
time.
Yeah.
it's like you wouldn't train your child with a shock collar. I mean, hopefully, there's all kinds of stuff, but like, poor little pups.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, or even like the invisible fence
Yeah.
situation where it like
Right,
shocks
it
them.
shocks you.
Like, oh my gosh.
I know.
Have you all seen the videos of people who like they have invisible fence for dogs and people will put the collars on and go through and they're like, we're not putting this back on our dog.
Oh,
This is
no.
I mean, it's hilarious. Like it's
Right.
usually guys like after they've watched a couple football games, they've
Right.
had some
Yeah.
drinks, they're like, how bad could it be? And they're like laying on the ground like shaking. You're like, no, we can't do this to our poor dogs anymore. Which excellent learning situation.
Right.
That's called empathy.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
That really hurts. So if a dog gets bit, get them to your vet.
Yeah.
Even if like you all are the first stop where
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna
assess the situation.
anti-venom.
Yeah.
Or if you don't, like I'm sure there's like a network of go here or go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Very cool.
Come to us, you know, we may be your only stop. We triage the situation, we'll assess your pet, check in and see how stable they are. I mean, the scary part about it too is, you know, the onset of symptoms could be anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours after bite or even up to 8 hours.
Really?
In terms of like swelling, bruising, pain, all of that, even the kind of more physiologic, blood clotting disorder effects potentially could be several weeks. So it's a kind of not, in an ideal world, it's not a one and done check. It's, even if your pet is stable, initially it is a follow up. Let's check in 12 to 24 hours
Wound
and kind of see.
management.
There may be some wound management, things that don't present themselves immediately.
Right away.
So no, it's a close line of communication between a pet owner and their veterinarian for sure.
Yeah.
Including us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There was a nest of black widows that were found in the bathroom here.
Oh wow.
Spiders in Easton Park. And unfortunately, one of our best friends, their daughter got bit and was in her whole leg.
Oh my goodness.
Swelled. But it makes me think about pets getting bit
Right.
by a black widow. Is it the same reaction if like your dog or your cat gets bit by
Goodness.
a black
I mean,
widow spider?
That's
good question.
That's a great question. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
sure. We're not sure exactly what happened with the black widow.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's probably more of a local, but like I said, we'd probably have to go to the books and be like,
Yeah.
what do we do with black widow?
Yeah,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I never like growing up in and around this area, like I never worried about black widows. Like that was like
know.
a big situation. And Steve says shortness of breath, tremors, psychomotor agitation.
Psychomotor agitation.
I mean, these definitely look like kind of
Diarrhea,
your
cramps,
more
seizures. Okay, so
next
I
level
was completely wrong.
symptoms. Yeah.
Yeah, because black
It's
widows.
not localized. It is. There's a
No,
full
black widow
systemic
will kill
response.
you. Like yeah, like
That'll
well,
kill your dog.
Yeah, that it looks like it's like, and I think that there was, at least for our friend, like they were flying in anti-venom from like the closest anti-venom for black widows was like in Oklahoma, and you're like, what? Because there's just I don't know why suddenly they are here, but
Yeah.
maybe something
to
y'all want
know.
to prep for because
Yes, yeah.
it was like black widows they will kill a human,
Yeah.
so I would assume a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings up another question. If y'all met our dog Kate, she's
Yeah.
well over 100 pounds. Like if she got bit by a rattlesnake versus like a Chihuahua got
Yeah.
bit by a rattlesnake, like is there a risk level based on the size of the dog?
Yeah, there is.
Or
Yeah,
cat.
definitely. And that's what I was thinking too. And when we were, in this train of thought with black widows is, the level of concern with a small dog versus a big dog. It can make a difference.
Venom, you got to factor in how much venom is
Yeah.
going to be, injected into the pet at the time of the bite as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we saw a dog that had a bite on the neck and all of its skin was basically like falling off.
Yeah.
Oh, like
So you can
necrotic,
imagine
like it was
that-
like dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
poor
I mean, the pet
baby.
was alive, but all the skin was and it was all just wound management. But you can imagine if that were to happen to a Chihuahua, like that would probably be life ending.
Yeah, because it'd be like all of its skin.
Yeah.
You, like,
Yeah.
And I don't mean to giggle. It's just like, it's like a,
No, but it's
it's uncomfortable.
it's reality.
So, like,
Yeah, no, yeah.
that's awful. Interesting. So I guess it's just like, it's knowing your pet too, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if you come home from work and your dog's acting funny, and you're like, we know there's rattlesnakes, we
Yes.
know there's black widows, my dog's been in and out because maybe they can go out because of a doggy door. Now they're acting funny. Like, time is of the essence
Yeah.
in a situation.
The sooner you can get the anti-venom in, then the better off, because it neutralizes the toxins. So as soon as you can identify something wrong with your pet,
Go to the vet.
go to the vet. And most bites are going to be on the face, front limbs.
Yep.
Because
Oh,
most of the time
was-
it's a curious.
It's a curiosity thing.
It's a curious.
And then the
pet.
snake is
Yeah.
responding out of fear. Like a giant dog or just a dog or something's messing with you. Like,
Yeah.
it's only natural that this snake
Right.
would respond, right? So like,
Exactly.
awesome. So just general health, like pet care for your pets. Like, is it best to see a vet once a year, twice a year? Like, what's the best? Just assuming everything's normal and natural. You get a puppy. Like, what's like the care routine that that people should follow?
Yeah, when they're generally young and healthy, we're not, thinking or dealing with any chronic things, issues. At least a yearly visit is good.
Okay.
When we start to get into the golden years, the senior years, it's probably a good idea that we schedule, every 6 months to check in. Changes can happen sometimes pretty quickly, right? Including their weight, their appetite, their bowel movements, all of that. So, but yeah, generally for young, about once a year.
Yeah. What about vaccines? Like, I don't think vaccines are as crazy like the opinions with people, but like vaccinating your dogs, like especially for like parvo, is like a big deal, and just getting your dogs vaccinated. And there's a dog park here, and sometimes you see the smallest little puppy at the dog park, and you're like, we kept ours like 4 months. We're like, no, until they're done, or maybe if it's might be longer than that. Like, what's kind of the general best rule of thumb for vaccinating a new puppy?
So, I mean, we recommend starting around 6 to 8 weeks of age and then vaccinating every month.
Okay.
Which with parvo specifically, it is here. It's pretty much everywhere. And so there are some recommendations to continue that vaccine past 16 weeks of age. That's kind of like your golden rule. Your golden age is like 16.
Okay.
16 weeks.
Months. Oh, weeks.
16 weeks is
Okay.
like when, historically speaking in the vet field, that's kind of like when all
Clear.
your maternal antibodies, so like mom's immune system has left the body, and now their own immune system is now in charge.
Okay.
And so, but now there's even thought of continuing it into 18 weeks
Okay.
for certain areas, or depending on the pet, depending on the risk that is
Sure.
involved. Whenever we talk about vaccines, we're always talking about risk and reward kind of thing,
Sure, of course.
right? Because every vaccine has a potential side effect,
Sure.
unwanted. And so, we're always basically making recommendations specifically on your pet's lifestyle and what it's going to be doing
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah, like for instance, like a hunting dog who's going to be outside in the elements, like that might be a different plan of vaccination than
Yes.
a pup that's inside. The only activity is going to be walks on a leash.
Yeah.
Maybe your
And like a
neighborhood
teacup
dog
poodle.
park. Yeah, it might be totally different than
Yeah.
a hunting dog or
Yeah.
or,
Like,
or
they're not
a
going
farm
to get
dog.
like a teacup poodle's not going to get assuming that most of them are just going to be
In a bag.
in a bag or on their, but like you're not going to get a leptospirosis vaccine.
What's that?
So that is a disease that's spread through wildlife,
Oh, right.
and they're healthy carriers, but they excrete it into the environment, and then it rains and a puddle forms, and a thirsty dog will go lap up the puddle.
Got it.
And it can attack the kidneys and the liver and cause kidney liver failure.
Yeah.
And it's zoonotic, meaning people can get it.
Zoonotic. Word of the day. Which is something that an animal can get, like you can catch, and an animal can also catch it.
Yep.
Right. Now, I don't think there's documented like transmission from your dog to yourself.
From
But if you were
lepto.
drinking
Yeah.
like a dirty water source and your dog was drinking from the
Correct.
same source, you could both
Yeah.
get ill.
Or, if you have kids and like say a dog pees or something, and theoretically it could happen. Although I don't know if there's any like documented cases about it,
Yeah.
Sure.
or that have occurred. However, it's possible.
Got it.
So, and actually now that I'm even saying this, I know that the recommendations.
His graphic says animal to human transmission not identified yet.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they say in theory.
From tigers? I guess people have tigers as pets. That's a thing. That's an
All those
interesting.
zoo vets, all those zookeepers, zoo
Oh, yeah.
handlers.
Oh, right. because
Probably.
Smart. I was thinking like, I wouldn't want a tiger, but
Like
people
Mike
have
Tyson.
Or the magicians with the
Right.
white tigers.
Yeah.
But the vet's taking care of them. God,
But
that makes way more sense.
As I was saying that though, AVMA just came out with new guidelines that made lepto core.
Yeah, actually,
So if we
real-time
want to go into
conversation about
vaccines,
this.
we can go into vaccines.
Yeah.
And we
Sure.
can talk about our core. Like if we want to kind of make it simple.
Yeah, please.
So you have your core and you have your non-core. And we'll just stick with dogs for
Okay.
the
for
sake
the sake of the example.
Yeah, for just keeping it simple.
Okay.
And your core is rabies and your distemper parvo.
Okay.
And your distemper parvo is distemper, hepatitis, parvo, and parainfluenza. It's like a combo vaccine.
Okay.
Those are your two core vaccines. So no
Okay.
matter what pet, no matter what dog, where you're at,
You're getting those.
those two. And then everything else is supposed to be, or historically is apparently lepto now is on that core list.
What is that treat or vaccinate from?
Which
Or
one?
Lepto.
The lepto?
That leptospirosis that he was
That-
telling you about that can be in the
The one that's in the water that
Oh, got
dogs
it.
lap up.
Understood.
So apparently that's now core, but that's new.
Okay.
And then your non-core are your bordatellas,
your flu.
your rattlesnake.
Oh, you can vaccinate for rattlesnake?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so
Well, the efficacy of it's questionable.
right. So it's supposed to boost your immune response to specifically I think it's the Western diamondback rattlesnake.
Okay.
There is some thought that it could have some cross protection to other vipers, so cottonmouth, water moccasin, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But more studies, the information's a little bit kind of lacking in
Sure.
theory. That should help.
Sure.
So that's definitely one of those lifestyle ones where, if there is risk of exposure. And then the other thing is that the vaccine does not substitute vet care, because really at best, it just delays onset and severity of symptoms,
It's giving you time.
giving you time
Got it.
to get vet care. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
And
but
it's
yeah.
all just, there's no like strong studies that support the efficacy of the rattlesnake vaccine. It's all just, what is it? Anecdotal. It's all anecdotal. So it was like, someone's dog got bit and it was terrible. And then they got a vaccine and they got bit again. And they're like, oh, it minimized severity.
Sure.
So if someone is against vaccinations or they're like, I don't know, it's like, I'm not going to fight you on this, and if you don't want to get it, that's okay,
Yeah.
It still doesn't change what you should do after the fact, you know.
Sure.
And
And the fact that if you got your pet vaccinated for the rattlesnake situation and then it gets bit, you still need to go and see your vet as
Yes.
soon as possible. It
Yeah.
doesn't like, oh, it's vaccinated, it's fine.
Right.
Like you
Exactly.
need to go see your vet. It might just buy you some time or make it less severe. Like it's like getting the flu shot, right? Like
Yeah.
you could still get the flu. We're just hoping it might not be as bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or
And that's the important thing about vaccines, right? It
Right.
doesn't prevent disease. It just minimizes severity.
right.
So your dog can get a Bordetella kennel cough vaccine
And still
and
get
still get kennel cough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just assuming and hoping it's not as bad. But it's like it's like an insurance policy, really. Like
Yes.
it's there if you need it. It buys you some time. Another big thing in Texas is the heat.
Yeah.
And we should talk about the cold too, because that's a new thing that like the freeze and the snow and all that. But most prevalently is it gets so hot and so many pups or cat are outside. Like what's the best care during the summer in Austin or just in Texas in general? It's 100 degrees for
Avoid
many
it.
days. Yeah, bring them inside.
Just keep them inside.
Yeah.
Well, the two biggest things that contribute to heat stroke is heat and humidity.
And we're sitting in it.
And we're full of it.
Yeah.
So when I see people like walking pets in the middle of the day, I'm like, oh,
Please stop.
I'm like, I hold my breath a little bit because, it just scares me. And so, I mean, summertime, early morning, ideally before even the sun is, going to be up.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, less ideal, but still, late evening, but avoid it. And then, I mean, I see people walking their pets on the street, and I'm like,
So hot.
I worry about their pads.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
That their pads are cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if any pet does get heat stroke or, like collapses on the street, what you want to do is you want to cool their temperature down, but what you don't want to do is put them in a bath.
Right.
Or put them in like cold water.
Yeah, it's got to be like a slow cooling, right? Because otherwise, would they have like a stroke or like?
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, ultimately, you want to get a towel or something like that to kind of wrap them and cool them, and then you got to keep track of their temperature so you're not dropping them too low.
It impacts their blood pressure, right? So their blood pressure tanks, and they can go into basically shock, where, it long-term effects, even if they recover from that, it can have implications on their kidneys, implications on their gastrointestinal tract.
Yeah.
It can also lead to kind of a systemic, almost inflammatory reaction where, again, clotting factors and their ability to clot their blood and things, moving out of blood vessels that shouldn't be moved. So it's a whole,
Just
it can
goes
be,
haywire.
yeah, their body just kind of goes haywire.
Yeah.
The other thing is that people sweat, right? And we can breathe heavy, but we also sweat to try to, cool ourselves.
Yeah.
They have to pant. Dogs do not sweat.
They don't sweat, right?
Which can be really complicated if there's difficulties breathing, particularly with our brachycephalic or smush face breeds.
Poor little babies.
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
Frenchies.
Little pugs, Frenchies.
The sweetest things.
English bulldogs.
And like most dogs, they don't know their limits, right? So we
Right.
have to be their advocates.
Yeah.
We have to tell them their limits. But that ability to cool themselves off, they can very easily get overheated because, that constant panting kind of creates some swelling in the back of their throat, which ends up kind of occluding their whole respiratory tract more. It's kind of a panic situation sometimes for them too. So
Yeah, where they can't breathe.
Yeah.
Which would make anything
Right.
freak out.
of course.
Yeah, it's like in the summers. I mean, our house is always pretty cold because Kate, like, she's a cold weather dog. We have a cold weather dog in Texas, and like we took that we do take it very seriously.
Yeah.
Like, if it's over 80, that girl's not going outside unless she needs to go to the bathroom, and she'll come right back in. Like,
Right.
she's also
She
not trying to
knows.
kick it outside either, right? She's like, ugh, this is awful. We've had very cold winters, and really like, which is new to Texas, like the snow in the last couple of years, and like pets can't live in snow either.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's so cold.
Yeah.
I guess like in general, if the pavement's too hot for you to walk on with your bare feet, maybe your dog shouldn't be walking on it. If it's too hot for you to be outside,
Yeah.
your dog has a coat on all the time.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
before it's too hot for you, it's probably too hot for them.
Exactly.
Keep them inside.
Yeah.
And then same thing if it's cold. Like
Yeah.
maybe they have a little more tolerance because they do have coats.
Yeah.
If they do, but like little short-haired dogs,
Yeah.
they gotta
Oh,
be
yeah.
so chilly out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's your best rule of thumb is, when in doubt, I mean, they should be somewhere temperature regulated, right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't be exposed to extremes for too long. I mean, there, of course, breeds that were bred, right, for extreme cold, who absolutely love it. When
Yes.
we've all seen those videos and pictures of huskies that don't want to come inside, and much
Right, when
rather
it's, like,
stay
so
outside.
chilly.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So, but I mean, that's, few and far between. I mean, that's not your average house dog, right?
Right.
So, even if, let's say, that was their breed, right? If they're not working dogs that stay outside all the time, which,
Right.
most dogs aren't, then they shouldn't, everything in moderation.
Yeah. Yeah. When it snowed, Kate, it was funny. So Kate, she loved it. She'd
Oh
go
my God, I
run
bet.
out there. She'd like lay in the snow. She's like, this is amazing. Luna, who was significantly larger, that girl wouldn't even go down the stairs on the porch to pee. She just peed on the porch and would come back. She's like, it's cold. She never knew snow. Like,
Right.
she's like, this is dumb. Like,
I know.
I'm an indoor dog. Like,
Yep.
I don't.
I think
do outside.
acclimation is a big part of it too.
Yeah.
Like a dog that is an outside dog
Yeah.
is going to be able to tolerate that heat
Sure.
so much better than a dog that is sitting in the AC,
Yeah.
you know? So I think that's another big part of it. So these pets that are all hanging out outside are, well, less than ideal, but,
If they're used to it.
yeah, they might be used to it and they can tolerate these extremes more.
Yeah. I mean, it's like people, right? Like there's people, human beings work outside during the summer.
Sure.
Like all day.
Right.
Every day. And I would probably have heat stroke and die. Like, or be close to it or need like some
Same.
sort of like intervention. Whereas
Yeah, me too.
there's people that are outside all the time. So it's probably the same rule of thumb.
Yeah.
If you're used to it and you're acclimated to it.
Right.
Well, before we went off on the veterinary clinic, I tried to start a business doing landscaping.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, and it took off.
I don't mean to laugh at you.
No, I know. Well, I didn't expect it. Like it was like another vet that was wanting me to, or she was wanting a nature trail because her property backed up to a green space,
Okay.
and so she just wanted a nature trail. And I was like, I can help you out with that. And she was like, well, yeah, come on. And I was like, okay, cool. So I just went out there with a machete and cut a nature trail.
Brian wears very many hats.
And
Oh yeah, I read you like to do like carpentry and all. You do
Yeah.
a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, like I worked for a general contractor and stuff like
Okay.
that. But she was like, do you want me to put your information on a neighbor app or
Next door.
Next
That was
Door?
Nextdoor.
Is it Nextdoor
Yeah.
app? And I was like, sure, yeah, whatever. And it blew up. And I was like, I enjoy doing the labor, you
Okay.
know? And so I was trying to keep up with everything and I couldn't keep up with how many people were asking me, but also it was like summertime and it was miserable, but it was fun because I was like, sweating and just working my butt off and kind of like doing stuff that I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm now older and I'm like, I'm not acclimated to that kind of heat.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so maybe landscaping is not the...
All while trying to have his day job with being
Yeah.
a veterinarian.
Oh,
was
you're a vet also.
Yeah.
And then
Well, yeah. Well, I was working as a vet and a relief vet came in and was like just, filling in. And we were talking and she was wanting a nature trail in her backyard going to a green space. And so that's kind of how... And so, yeah, I was working as a vet and then I got a trailer and I got a...
like leaned in.
Yeah. I had a trailer. I had a team. I had a crew.
It brought him joy. I was like,
Yeah,
this is cool.
I was busy. I was
Yeah.
really busy.
Awesome.
But then I was like, I can't keep up with this. I couldn't keep up with it. And I was like, what am I really doing? Like, what, like, I'm exhausted,
Sunburnt.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like I have,
Sore.
I have this like terrible farmer's tan and I'm walking in the next day kind of tired and being like, how can I help your pet today?
He's like, I did a long day of like macheting yesterday, but I'm here for your pet. I'm a little
Yeah.
sore. Can you lift him up on the
Yeah.
table? Because I'm a little sore
Yeah,
from my
basically.
part-time job,
Yeah.
for my other venture.
But yeah, the summers, I jokingly, we went to visit, what was it, Santa Barbara?
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
If I was in Santa Barbara, I wouldn't be a veterinarian. I'd be a landscaper.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous there, and the
Yeah.
weather, and everyone's yard. It was just beautiful. Like all the flowers, the plants, like it was great.
It's lovely.
And
Yeah.
so I knew that I wouldn't be like if I lived there, I wouldn't have been a vet. I would have just, I would have kept leaning into the landscaping.
I love that.
Brian was like, where are the bugs? There's like no mosquitoes here.
Yeah, it's in Santa Barbara, right? It's like
Yeah.
almost like eerie that
Yeah.
there's no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We went to a wedding there, and the bride and groom, they got married to each other, obviously. They were in her grandmother's like home, like it was like 100-year garden,
Wow.
rose garden. Like it went on
Oh.
forever, and it had like all these. It was so.
I bet it was pretty.
It was so pretty, and like just multiple places in the yard that the garden would just take you to another garden, which would take you to another garden.
Oh my gosh.
And it was beautiful.
Sounds lovely.
I mean, I love the flora around here too. Like we have really pretty flowers and stuff's in bloom now. Like the lantanas are out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I
pretty.
really, I mean, I just love gardening, and really
same.
it was me doing my own yard, and then I was kind of like, yeah, let's do this, and then I was like, I only want to do my yard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do everyone else's yard. I just want to do my yard.
Yeah, I love that. Gardening's fun.
Yeah.
So Meow Bark, very
Yeah.
excited. How can how can Easton Park support you? Because we're in this little micro economy of entrepreneurs. Like what can we all do to support you guys?
I mean, I think it's a continuation of what we've been told, right? Because we're not, yet, maybe to be determined in the future, but we're not, actual, members in the community like live here. But from our understanding, there's been conversation, right? And so we'd love, the conversation to continue, right? If anybody's come to visit us, share with your friends kind of thing, right? So the power of social media has been really awesome.
Cool.
But more than that, come visit us. Just
Okay.
come see us,
Okay.
Come,
Come say hey.
Come say hi. We'd love to give you a tour, show you the space, meet everybody.
We can bring our dogs.
Yeah.
obviously.
Just come,
Yeah,
just
of
come meet
course.
us.
Yeah, so you're not in Easton Park. You're in
Right.
Goodnight Ranch.
Yeah.
So how could where are you in general?
Yeah. So it's a complex called the Ramble.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's an identifier. It might be on Google that people can find that. But yeah, if people just Google Meow Bark Veterinary. But we are in a new retail complex called the Ramble in Goodnight Ranch, right off of Slaughter, like right there.
Yeah.
So
I think it would take from Easton Park, our house, it would take 5 minutes to get to you guys.
Yeah.
Like maybe.
super close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how people can find us.
Should be
But yeah,
super easy.
come visit us.
Very cool.
Share with your
Bring
friends.
your pets.
Bring your pets.
Bring your pets.
Mhm. Yeah.
Amazing. Have you just kind of back to the business world? Like you've hired your staff, like everyone's ready, like ready to go.
Yeah. We started that whole process, right? Brand new for us. We've got a core unit of people that we've hired that
I was more nervous for the interviews than I think they were.
I know exactly.
Because it's weird being on the
Yeah.
other side of the interview kind of
Yeah.
table
Yeah.
for both of us. I mean, Erica is naturally just awesome doing like running the interviews and stuff like that. My heart was racing
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
interviews
Yeah.
and stuff.
I mean, it's trying to put your best foot forward and trying
Yeah.
to really see and hear the person in front of you, right? And make your best kind of assessment judgment in that way. So
Yeah.
we're really excited about the people that we've found
have
to
a-
join the team.
We have since we are so brand new,
Yeah.
we were not wanting to just hire someone brand new
Yeah.
that doesn't know anything about veterinary medicine.
Awesome.
So our team is pretty well experienced.
Yeah.
Great.
Once we get the ball rolling and the doors are open and things, then I definitely want to, because someone went out on a limb for me
Yeah.
Yep.
when, because
Exactly.
I was about to go back into the restaurants, and then my sister was like, don't do it.
Yeah.
I was living with my sister at the time, and she was like, I'll pay your rent, whatever.
Cool.
And she was like, just stick with it. Don't come back to the restaurants, that's
Yeah.
what we know, and we need to move on from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I want to pay that forward
Sure.
as well. I want to, but at least to start out, we needed experienced staff, and we have
Sure.
a really solid team.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. Like, I love hearing that y'all were nervous about it because it is like, as business owners, we become customer service to our employees.
Yes.
And there has
Yeah.
to be a level of leadership and experience and
Yeah.
like an expectation and trust.
Yeah.
And so it's, we're lucky at the point in our business right now where we can choose who to work with and who not to work with. And we will not choose someone who doesn't put their employees first. It's like,
Yeah.
that's just not our culture. Like,
Yep.
we're people first. And to know that you were, and I think that they probably felt so respected that because people can tell when others are nervous. It's like an innate thing in
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's really respectful that
Yeah.
like that's the thing. And I'm just excited for you
I mean,
guys.
that was one of the reasons why. I mean, that was one of the reasons why we started the business.
Yes.
Was we wanted to provide a good environment. We wanted to provide, living wages, and we wanted to pay our staff well, because we feel like throughout our careers we've been in these clinics and that we maybe didn't feel valued,
Right.
or respected,
Yeah.
or heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's our main reason for opening it, is to, or at least for me, was to kind of give back to the community, because
Yeah.
I've had a lot of support to getting to where I am now. So I want to pay that forward.
Yeah.
And then, again, I just feel like we can, as long as we do good medicine and we treat people right, like,
Yeah.
I don't care about the money. I don't care about, we're not trying to expand this empire. We're not trying to create an empire or anything like that. We are basically just trying to create a good life.
Yeah.
That's it.
Neighborhood vet clinic,
Neighborhood vet
comfortable
clinic.
life for you guys.
That's it.
Great experience for your employees. Like,
Keep it simple.
that's amazing. That's awesome. And I think that, that's something that it really makes a difference, like paying livable wages.
Yeah.
People are saying that a lot more now,
Right.
really since COVID. And I think it's excellent because even like a lot of bars and restaurants are now paying like servers more than in Texas. I think it's $2.15 an hour or something,
Yeah.
which is
That's what it was
insane.
when I was serving tables.
insane.
It's insane.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of like bars and restaurants are now offering health benefits, and there's all kinds of strategies to do that now.
Yeah.
But when you treat your people well and you pay them well, and they're not worried about rent and I got to feed my children and I got to put gas in the car to get to work, like your clients, your patients, like they're gonna feel better. It's just a better feedback loop than paying people as little as you can get by with, and like
trying to squeeze as much as you can out of any industry.
and there's metrics, right? Like,
Absolutely.
there is, I do believe there's a disservice to heavily overpaying someone for the experience that they have.
Sure.
Because eventually they will move on and they're going to be brought back to reality. But I don't see why people can't pay at the top of what they can pay and what they can afford and what makes sense for their business, which
course.
is another factor, like it's
Yeah.
another little dial to turn.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to overextend and create a situation where, and I'm just speaking out of the fear that we have sometimes, like payroll, they want to get paid every 2 weeks, and they should, like, but you got to be able to pay it. And if you're paying them too much, so there's all these little dials to turn, but as long as the dial is turned up on the employee care side as much as you can and as much as you can afford reasonably while maintaining the health of the business, it's only going to grow, and so much more positivity because your clients will feel, everyone else feels it, like even your vendors will feel it, like your like it's very, very cool. So congratulations.
Thank you.
We're so excited for you
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah.
What if people are looking for a new vet, or y'all are right down the road now, like what's the best way to get our pets into your care?
Yeah, so they can definitely go onto our website, meowbarkvet.com. Give us, their information, their pet's name, what they're looking for, and that's online scheduling as well.
Oh, cool.
Through our website.
Nice.
So that people can go ahead and, get an appointment for whatever they need, whether it's vaccines or, hey, they need, a checkup for chronic illness or whatever it may be. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm so excited. I know Kate's excited.
Yeah.
It was really fun because usually we're like, when people come in, we're like, we have a large dog. She's a lot. Like, but I did tell her, I was like, there's vets coming.
Aw.
They're gonna love you. It was very cool.
Sweet.
But
Yeah.
we'll certainly sign up, and I encourage everyone in Easton Park also.
Yeah.
Y'all are so cool. It's been
Thank
from
you.
the second y'all walked in, just super kind. I love that you love your employees. Like, you
Yeah.
obviously love pets.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Meow Bark's where it's at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is where it's at. We're, we value good medicine, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. We're very much, goofballs, and, we also very much value transparency, being transparent, about everything. And so we'll talk through whatever it is we need to talk through.
Excellent. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining. This has been awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
It's been really
everyone
fun.
in Easton Park, check out meowbarkvet.com.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time.
Awesome.